Hello, I'm Marcus, Managing Director of Logikfx, and today I'm with Dan, one of our recent LITA traders, and he's going to go through his story of how he started out and where he is today.
Hi, I'm Dan. I've been a graphic designer for 13 years now, and in the last month I've just become a LITA trader. I'd like to thank Marcus for inviting me along today.
Dan, thanks for coming down. I know a bit of a mission coming from London. You've been a LITA trader now for just under a month or something. You've gone through some of the material. But let's start off with, what's your story? Where did you come from? What's your background? Just give me an idea of what you're all about before you actually joined and met me and spoke to me. Give me an idea then.
Do you want my life story?
Yeah, go on, give me your life story. How did it start?
I was born to poor parents.
I love it. So you're from a poor
I had a rough
okay.
life.
Yeah. All right, now with the real story, Dan.
Right.
How did you start? And then...
So basically I've been like an animator, stroke designer for like 15 years. And what I really had was a thirst for wanting a passive income. With not much idea on how to do that, and so about a year ago now, I came across a news article, and it was about Forex trading. Didn't know anything about it, didn't know what it was, but what did come of it was that you could make money, and of course, everyone wants to make money.
Yeah, that's how people come into trading. So yeah, of course, the aim is at the end of the day to have money coming in an inflow, but it's wealth generation. So we'll get to where that is and the understanding right now. So I want to know a bit more about how you decided to become into an animator or into design. How did that come about first before you decided to seek other things? So was it like 10, 15 years you've been an animator now, isn't it? Or designer?
Yeah, well, I kind of fell into the animation thing because I'd graduated from university, but I'd studied animation in the first year. Graduated in computer games. Cool. But when I came out, I didn't want to do computer games because I wasn't much of really into 3D stuff. So So I ended up getting a job 2D, making signs, artwork, all that kind of stuff, and then fell into design from there. And then I got a job at Debenhams doing artworking. Cool. And then grew into about 3.5 years, got into a creative agency from there. And then everything exploded after that, where I got to do retouching, photography, absolutely everything creative. So
you sort of progressed your career in design, and you made it your source of income. This is what money was coming in. You're doing really well. And then, from my understanding, you're at that stage now. What do you do with that money? It's sitting there in the bank.
But, call me greedy, not really greedy, but to be honest, I didn't feel like I was earning enough. And I wanted something else, something a bit more. But ultimately, have an ISA and have money in that. I've had an ISA for, 10 years now. And
that's good.
But it doesn't really grow that much. And so, to me, is I need a better passive income. And so with that news story of Forex trading, I started looking into that. So from there, it was can I do this? And I was I'm smart enough to understand how it works, but obviously you have to apply a bit of learning to it. So I found a Udemy course.
Okay, Udemy, yeah. I've heard of Udemy. They're fairly cheap, aren't they now? So 20 quid a course or something like that. Yeah. And
I think I got this Forex for Beginners course for about £10.
Yeah.
And it was okay. It was an introduction into Forex trading. And the thing was that it brushed generally over all sorts of topics up to the point of right, you're ready to trade.
Interesting.
And I didn't feel like I was ready to trade.
So it sort of gave you that initial insight, showed you sort of, I call it glimpses, they show you the surface of trading, and then they just throw you in the deep end, and you're sort of left in the dark of, well, why does it work like that? Or why does this, where's the proof that this is even the case? Or how do I use this information actually to go and apply it to the markets? Because sometimes they just give you theory or whatnot. So I haven't looked at the specific course that you went on, but I remember we had a discussion before about this Udemy course. So where do you feel like you're at now in terms of, let's go with, how did you find out about Logikfx? How did you introduce yourself and actually give the real response? We spoke about this before we recorded this. So it was when you found an article that actually Matty wrote. Go for that. Go for that article. So what did you find out? You clicked on our site and you found something.
Well, so I had basically stopped learning off that Udemy course, and then reignited my passion in it over the last couple of months. And I thought, I still want to give this Forex thing a go. So I was like, and I was going through Instagram, I remember, and you get the stories and the little pop-up advert came in, and it was like, learn to trade. And I was like, yeah, okay. Well, it caught me at the right time, piqued my interest. So went to the website, and then it was an explanation of, oh yeah, join this, and so I was like, not quite ready to do that. Everything is due diligence.
Due diligence, yeah, definitely. I think that's the most important thing. Like, anyone watching this gets anything from this video, do your due diligence. This market is full of people that are just there to take your money because it's predatory. Like, there's going to be people knowing that you're looking to make money, and they're going to offer you an opportunity of a lifetime, or so it seems. Opportunity of a lifetime. I'll put it in inverted commas.
But I would say some things are too good to believe.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you see people like lounging on cars and going, oh yes, this is my Bugatti and all of that. And it's like, I don't
resonate with you because
I don't buy into it.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people are results driven, and people think if they just flash the cash, that's enough or sufficient enough to say that, hey, I made that from trading. But people don't join the dots of how do they actually make that money. And that's sort of where you found us, isn't it? You found an article. So what we like to do, really, I don't know if I should be looking at the camera or not, but we like to sort of give clarity to those that are looking to get in the market of what's a realistic expectation and what do you need to sort of be aware of and how to protect yourself. So this is the article that you came across. Go through it. What happened when you found the article?
Well, I was looking into the person behind this trading.
Yeah.
And
no names. Or we can bleep it out. Yeah.
And I happened to come across an article by Matty.
Yes.
And I thought, I'm more interested in the other side of the story of someone that's kind of saying why this isn't a good thing, almost the criticism, having come from like university, like about being critical, evaluating, etc. So I read Matty's review and I was like, so probably won't go down that route, and then started looking more into Logikfx and you guys, especially you, Marcus.
I love that. Love the sarcasm.
Because
but so me and Dan had our first conversation. So you passed the assessment, didn't you? So in order to pass the assessment, you've got to watch the web class. That's sort of how you first got introduced into what we're all about. So you've seen sort of how we portray others in the industry and just give you transparency on what they're doing and how to sort of protect yourself. But then also it's important to know what we're all about. So I think the web class was when you first got introduced to us. So give me an idea of how did you find that? What did you enjoy about it? What compelled you to actually take the assessment at the end?
Well, initially it was your website. So going through, looking into the background into it, and then it was like, okay, so it was what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it's like, okay, so it's longish, but being furloughed at work, I was like, I had that time. Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. So he didn't watch it because he loved it, but he watched it because he had the time. Okay, go on, carry on. No, I'm not going to say I loved it instantly. It's like, well, I had time to spare, so I was like, oh, let's have a look. So, and then I think from that first 2 hours, and I've got my notepad as well, and I sat there, and everything that you were saying kind of started to make more sense than just the £10 Udemy course that I'd gone through, and it was like, this is starting to join dots. And obviously like a thirst for knowledge, and I wanted to just like continue, but I wanted to know more. So then it was kind of, at the end of it, you said sitting the psychometric assessment.
That's it, yeah.
Sounds horrific.
Yeah, it's not as horrific as it sounds. You've got 20 questions. As long as we work out if you've got the right character traits, you get a conversation with myself. And that's when we started having a conversation. But what I want to touch upon there is, within those 2 hours, already you felt like you got more value from that than the actual whole Udemy course altogether, which is quite interesting really, because when I made that particular presentation, I tried to make it as value driven as possible. I wanted to not only show you what we're all about, but at the same time, you need to learn something from it. And I think we go through a few things in there, like how do you actually analyze economies and all those different things. And for somebody like yourself, that's what sort of ticked your boxes and pushed your buttons in the sense of, okay, I've learned much more here than, let's say, this Udemy course. So then you did the assessment and you passed it. So in order to pass assessment, you've got to have like a minimum requirement of character traits. Firstly, I've got to see that you've actually proven yourself historically to actually succeed, i.e. have you had a career path or have you pushed yourself to something? Because if you haven't done that, then you've got a slim chance of succeeding in trading whatsoever. So those are what that assessment tries to adhere to. It's not the perfect, but it gives me a good idea and it helps filter those that I think probably not cut out of it. So I have to have the conversation with them. You booked your call with me, we had a conversation. How was that experience? You met me for the first time. What were your first impressions? Hit me with that.
Well, you wouldn't switch your webcam on.
I didn't, yeah. I can't remember what I said to you at the time. I think I said my webcam wasn't connected or something like that. But at that particular time, I said,
No.
I don't want to put my camera on. I think, what time was it? It was about 7:30 at night. And I was just thinking, okay. Well, was it in the night or was it? I can't remember.
It was in the evening.
It was in the evening at some time. And I just remember I'm too messy to put my camera on.
Yeah,
you put your camera on, did you, Dad? Yeah. And in the background, you had a mural, which I absolutely loved. But yeah, my first impression of you was the mural. Sort of instantly, I was like, okay. And then you told me straight away that you started painting it, and that's something you did yourself. Yeah, and that was quite intriguing. So yeah, carry on. So
yeah, so sorry to dig you out about the lack of webcam, but no. So we had the chat, and you basically broke down everything that Logikfx and being a LITA trader, and like you put it in such a way and made me feel at ease that it was like, well, you know what? I almost feel like it was an investment. An investment in myself, and also the knowledge that you possess, that Matty possesses, is like invaluable. I mean, I felt at ease about joining the program just because I knew you said you don't get anything if you don't work hard, and
which is a basic principle in anything, really.
Yeah.
You know? It's not worth having if you don't have to work for it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I don't believe in easy money. I don't believe that you could just go, oh, right, well, slap this down on that currency pairing and, and tomorrow I'll have like £1,000 and...
Close your eyes and hope for the best and sort of, all right, and this guy told me this, let's just do this. Yeah.
And ultimately, everything, like the Udemy course and all the other bits and pieces that I read over the years, it all kind of felt like a gamble because I didn't understand it myself, not entirely. So then just having the conversation with you, and I mean, I could tell just by the way you talk about it, it's like you're enthusiastic, you're passionate about it.
Yeah, it's my bread and butter. It's Matty's bread and butter as well now. So
and that's the thing, it's like that comes across when you just chat openly. It's not like you're wheeler dealer like
try and convince you to upsell you to something like everyone else is trying to do.
Like your little radar, your bullshit detector switches on. But it's like all that kind of thing. You get a sense and a feel for it, and that's what we established in that call. And so I thought, well, I'm willing to do it, and I know it's not going to be short term. It's more of a longer term thing, but it's an investment in me and for the future.
I think that is a really good point to hit on, is when you join as a LITA trader, it is an investment in yourself, because what you need to do, I always say, the actual function of trading, when you've learned everything, is not difficult. It's straightforward. But the hardest part is how do you get to that point where you know how to manage your portfolio? You know what steps you need to take if something goes wrong, because that's where your confidence really gets hit, is when it doesn't go how you planned it. What do you do in those circumstances? Can you even prepare for them in your portfolio? And I think those sort of things, understanding that is where the difficulty lies. And once you've gone through that hardship, to me, like me and Matty, we're trading every week. We have positions, 1 to 3 to 12 months. It really depends on the market. It doesn't take much effort in terms of the grand scheme of things. If you have a look at it, it's because we already know what we're looking at, and that's what we're trying to do. So you join the program. I gave you the expectation that it's not easy. You've got to put the grind in, but once you have, you can expect the results that you're looking for, and give you realistic expectations. I think that's really important, like benchmarking of what you're actually capable of. Don't jump in thinking you're going to earn millions if you've only got a $2,000 trading account. It's not going to happen. So you've got to learn those sort of things. I think that's what I try to get across in the call, and sort of make sure that, do you understand what trading's really all about, and do you want to take those steps into the reality of trading, because it is a very lucrative industry if you can get to that point. And you're starting that journey now, aren't you? So you're a month in, 14 videos. How's that experience? What have you learned? Tell me maybe the 3 main things that you didn't know before that you know now potentially from it. Or maybe we'll start with 1, because I'll put you on the spot here. So give me something that you've learned that you thought, you know what, I resonate with this, and this makes complete sense now compared to, let's say, before you joined.
Well, I mean, I never understood who the players were in the market.
Yeah.
So your banks, your brokers, your hedge funds,
cool.
And all of that. And so almost from the start, like the first video, and just laying down the foundations of everything. And that's one of the things I really liked about it. So first video, and just not getting over or ahead of yourself. It's kind of like just gradually building yourself up. And yeah, I just feel like, so 14 videos out of, what is it, 40?
41 videos, yeah.
40, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've probably spent 20 or 30 hours so far.
Yeah.
Not to put anyone off, but I No, there's so much knowledge there. As I said, so compared £10 Udemy course to the Lita Trader program, and I was just I've just taken back, and I've like my notepad here of absolutely everything I've learned.
I absolutely love this, by the way,
14 videos,
because not every student takes notes. I've had some students are like, Marcus, I put my headphones in, put it on my phone, and walk around and try and listen to it. Listen, if you're not going to take notes, you're not going to remember it. I think if you just listen to it, you remember, what was it, 10-15%? When you start making notes, you remember probably like 40-50%, then you write them again, 80-100%, you'll remember everything. Really important. But you're at that stage now where you started to realise, okay, how the market dynamics work, what are the players that we're looking at, and then I think after that we go through some of the core mathematical skills to get you up the curve. So you're from a design background, so it's really interesting. How did you find using Excel and getting to grips with it, and sort of starting out of, okay, this could be daunting, but do you feel a bit more confident using Excel with your mathematical skills that are necessarily required?
Well, yeah, I have an admission to make. I'm a bit of a nerd.
I think you do need that little bit in you, that little sort of drive that you want to learn more. If you don't have that,
so I mean, I was okay with Excel spreadsheets. I did computing in college, so it was kind of like, when it came to calculations and did maths at GCSE, didn't need A-level maths, but I mean, I suppose there's a few things from A-level maths you could take into it, but the thing was, it's learning calculations and that part of the videos, it was as I say, an eye-opener, because there's like data, market data, and then you're breaking down, right, empirical, or however, what was it, longitudinal data over say 50 years, and then working out calculations from that, and you talk through absolutely everything, and I was doing it at the same time, so video running was like making sure I understood.
And that is one of the things that I wanted to make sure that when you join the program, it's not just useless theory, you've got application as well. So not only do you learn that bit, so you're in your infant stages yet, and I can't wait for you to get to the next stage, but yeah, I feel like the application part is what I really want to drive home, and you sort of resonated with that as well. So let's see, Dan, I've asked you a few questions. My next really one, you're still in your early stages, right? You're still yet to complete the educational material. After that, we have the tech. You haven't even touched upon that yet. So we won't talk about it right now, because I want to wait for you to use it before you can give your opinion on it. But let's say you met someone now, maybe family, relative, friend, and they're like, Dan, I want to get into trading. Would you recommend the Lita Trader program? Is this something that you would say to your friends or even your family? Yeah, definitely join. Give an idea of If someone was looking into it?
I'd say yes, but on condition that they're actually like they would stick to learning and everything, because it's not going to be something that you would just pick up and learn in a day and then right, I'm away and can trade and everything else like that. It does well. My understanding so far is that it will take effort, and it has taken effort so far.
Definitely.
It's it's as anything. If you want to get good at something, you have to learn.
Brilliant.
And I can't wait to apply what I've learned
to the actual live markets.
Exactly.
And this is where I feel you hit the nail on the head there. Recommending this to your colleagues, friends, and whatever. Make sure you give them the expectation of the reality behind it, the work it takes, but also what the opportunities are at the end of it. And that's the trick, really.
And that's exactly what you did to me for when I came on the course. You want to make sure that you have the right fit of person.
And if you can do that before they come through, it just makes my life easier. So I don't have to do the assessment. If you can say, hey, you know what? You don't put the work in. Yeah, it's probably not for you, but well, you're just going to miss out on an opportunity in life, really. It's like with anything. But yeah, Dan, I think there's a really good conversation, just getting to know your perspective. And how do you find the ability to just chat to me and Matty? So after you joined, me and Matty like to give you our personal contact details, our phone numbers, our Telegram, just so that you can chat to us. How did you find that experience? So when you came to like an obstacle and trying to overcome it?
The funny thing, like, because that initial conversation, you were like, you had me as your mentor. I was like, well, I only want you as my mentor. I wasn't considering anyone else. But the thing was, I didn't realise that Matty was also going to be on like the mentorship as well. So I'm like, 2 for the price of 1.
That's it.
And yeah, it's great because I mean, going through the course, if ever I have a question, like I was having a discussion with my dad. And just like interest rates and stuff like that. Saturday afternoon, it was like, I'll just like fire a little question off to you and Matty. Matty comes back and it was like,
here you go, here's your answer, Dan. Blow your friends away with your knowledge.
And then it's like me and Matty having a conversation, and then you're like piping.
What's going on here? All right, this is quite an interesting conversation.
Quite an in-depth conversation, and it's knowledge almost on hand. So like in the middle of the conversation, so within 5 minutes, I had an answer and carried on like conversing with my dad about what was going on. And just understanding the market, and that again is invaluable because I mean I could take the time, go online, and then have to read a whole load of stuff, or I can ask you and Matty and then have an answer from your experience, and you can put it in layman terms as well.
That's it. And I think the good thing about that is when I look at it, when I go back, I try to make the things that I offer exactly what I would have wanted when I started. And I think one of the key things is just talking to somebody who can cut out all the bullshit. So you don't have to go out online, traipse through everything, and do your own due diligence and research and just say, oh, is that right? But this article's saying something completely different.
Well, that's the thing. And then you're kind of looking for a source of truth.
That's it. And then having that person, like Matty's brilliant, you know, he will answer that question as, if not as better as me, any questions that you come with regarding to trading. And our experiences help you cut out all the noise, and you can chat to us anytime. You can get that across. And in your circumstance, it helps you with the conversation with your father, so it's a win-win. But yeah, Dan, I think this conversation is, we've gone through everything, we've gone through experience and where you're at now. And now we're looking at the future of what your position will be at Logikfx. I was talking to Matty about this. We've got some big plans. So I can't wait for you to finish the learning content, get using it, and we can see what we can take it from there. But Dan, it was a pleasure chatting. And I hope everyone from the audience got a good gauge of what we're about, what the web class is about, and what it actually really takes to be a good trader, because it's not as easy as everyone thinks, but at the same time, that's why the rewards are so big. Brilliant, Dan. Pleasure.
Thank you.
So that was a little Q&A between one of the recent LITA traders who joined the program. He's quite fresh, he's just coming into it, and his journey is just starting. And I think that gave, or that little conversation we had, the Q&A, sort of gave a realistic idea of what we're about at Logikfx. So if you guys want to become someone like Dan, maybe not the same, and maybe keep your hair. Sorry, Dan. Sorry about that. But if you want to keep want to keep your hair? I'm referring to that now. If you want to get into trading, probably look at what's realistic and sort of what you can actually achieve from it and whether you're actually cut out for this. We'll do that part for free, see if you actually got the right character traits. If you're interested in that, there's probably a link around this video somewhere. If it's on YouTube, link in description. Just click that, watch the online web class like Dan did, and if you pass, we'll have a conversation, and I look forward to talking to you.